The case of Abrego Garcia, this guy, wait until you hear what we've just found out about this guy. He's the left poster boy, favorite poster boy child for just a Maryland dad who President Trump picked on. He just picked him up for no good reason and shipped him off to that El Salvador in prison. Well, one of the things they're trying to do, and this audience know we've talked to him many times, but he's not just a Maryland dad. He's not a U.S. citizen. He's from El Salvador. He was picked up and he was brought here illegally by his parents when he was 16. In 2019, he was arrested for suspected gang activity. And in the context of investigating this guy, they figured out that he was an illegal and he was ordered removed. A district court judge, an immigration trial judge, and then an appellate court above her both agreed he needed to be removed. He pled for mercy, saying, please, you can't send me back to El Salvador because there's gang activity. They might want to kill me. And they said, okay, you don't have to go back to El Salvador. And he's been kind of just like hovering here ever since on our benevolence and saying, you know, you're kick-outable, but we won't send you back there. Anyway, that's where things stand with him. And in order to soften the hearts, probably of American women in particular, but Americans cross country, they've been parading out his wife. He's a good husband. He's a great father. I'm going to read you some of what she's said, saying, let's see. We have a shot? Okay, never mind. We cut a shot. Watch it.
The Trump administration has labeled him a human trafficker, even an MS-13 gang leader. How do you respond to those claims?
So everything they're saying, it's wrong. My husband is a loving father, and what I know is he's an amazing husband, an amazing father. That's who he truly is. Okay, amazing husband and father. Now, this just broke today. Andy Ngo, who's been on this show many times, Andy Ngo first reported this, and then it was picked up by Bill Malugin of Fox, and now has been verified by Bill Malugin of Fox based on Maryland state records. This great husband, this wonderful father, not once, but more than once, has been accused of domestic violence by that woman who was giving that interview right there. And the court records have been pulled. There's one from 2020. The case is now closed. There's another one from 2021. The case is now closed. And she signed this under penalty of perjury. Yeah, in connection with his deportation. From the moment he was detained, my children and I were sad and worried. He's always been a loving, reliable partner and father. We struggled without him emotionally and economically. That loving partner accused, repeatedly of domestic violence against this spouse. And we don't yet have the details, but I guarantee you we're going to get them. And what that does, Batya, is it undermines this woman's credibility entirely. She, at least two that we've found so far, records of alleged domestic violence. How did we find that out? From her, undoubtedly. This is not some sweetheart, like loving kid who the Trump administration is just picking on. This guy was found by two courts to have ties to MS-13, to be in MS-13. And now we see an accused serial domestic abuser.
One of the horrific things about Biden's open border policy and in general, the handshake agreement between both parties until Trump showed up that we should have masses of illegal immigrants coming into this country, is that in the name of some sort of compassion for the global indigent, we should bring these people in. What actually happened, which Trump understands intuitively somehow, is that we have incentivized immense amounts of cruelty. And we've done that to our own citizens in the form of plunging wages, because suddenly there's a lot of competition for jobs. And we've done it in the form of cruelty to the people crossing the Darien Gap. A third of the women who do so admit to being raped. So you can imagine what the actual number is. Those people become enslaved to the cartels once they get here. And because of the threat of deportation for something like domestic violence, women do not report it when an illegal migrant husband beats the crap out of them. Because what's supposed to happen when you commit a vicious crime like that is you're supposed to get deported. So the fact that this woman actually twice seems to have gone to the authorities about the domestic abuse she was suffering at the hands of her husband, that's not actually the norm. because many women don't do that because they would rather suffer it than see their husband deported. Now, the question is, why was he not deported for the 2 times that he beat the crap out of his wife? I would like to know. I mean, there was so much that went wrong here, allegedly. So much that went wrong here. Megyn, I read that the stay of deportation was not just that he would get killed by a rival gang, but the word rival being crucial there, right? That was part of the proof that he was an MS-13, right? So he was allowed to stay on the grounds that he belonged to a gang. I mean, the immigration system, the court system is so messed up here. And the Democrats are acting like because these activists in the system, from the lawyers to the judges, shirked their responsibility, therefore Trump is at fault for carrying it out. And I just have to say, Megyn, I hope the Democrats keep white knighting for Hamas defenders and for people who beat up their wives, for people who belonged to gangs, to illegal immigrants, because this is a losing issue and they don't know it because their base is the top 20% who loves this stuff, right? They cannot see that the majority of people in America, this just is not going to bother them because this person is not a good person and they don't want him for a neighbor. Now, if you turn on any of the liberal channels, you'll see, the elites sitting there saying, well, maybe I don't want him for a neighbor, but we should adjudicate that in a court. That's because he'll never be your neighbor. He'll be some working class American's neighbor whose children have to play with his kids who know that their mom is being beat up by their dad, allegedly. We'll see what the details are there. And it's just so disgusting, the elitism here. You have United States senators getting on planes to
Wait, let me show that
for this person. Let's talk about that.
Let me show that. So Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, which is, he's just a Maryland dad. That's all, just a sweet Maryland dad that Trump's picking on. He decided to go to El Salvador. I can't wait to see how this works out, frankly. And he thinks he's going to storm the prison, I guess, and do firsthand reporting on it. Oh, good luck with that, sir. Take your chances, because I don't think you want to mess around with President Bukele. Here he is posting a video from the airport explaining the trip.
I'm here at the airport. I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia home until he returns to his family. I hope to meet with representatives of the government. I hope to have the chance to actually see Kilmar and see what his condition is. But we are going to keep fighting because this is a miscarriage of justice. This is about due process. This is about rule of law. What bullies do is they begin by picking on the most vulnerable. But if we get rid of the rule of law and due process in the United States, it's a short road from there to tyranny.
Yeah, like their wives. That is what bullies do. They pick on the most vulnerable. And, sometimes they have repeated instances of beating the shit out of the person they're supposed to love most. I don't know whether Abrego Garcia did that in this case, but I'm looking at 2 Maryland court records in which his wife, I don't know if they were married at the time, but the same woman, Jennifer Vasquez, that he's with now, filed for a protective order against him for domestic violence. He's not the only one. I'll give you one more and then I'll give you the floor. Senator Chris Murphy from my new adopted home state of Connecticut, never now to miss an opportunity to put himself in front of a camera now that he's sleeping with some hack PR person. This is him weighing in.
This is the constitutional crisis. It's the confrontation between the court saying that the president has to bring Abrego Garcia back home and Trump refusing to do it. And why should this matter to you? Because if the president has the power to jail, imprison, to deport anyone, even if they have a legal right to be here as a citizen or through protected status given by the courts, then none of us are safe. Today, it's this El Salvadorian immigrant, but tomorrow it could be you or me. This matters. This matters. This is the one power that we cannot give the President of the United States, the ability to take any of us off the street and imprison us just because the President believes he has the power, a power that he does not have.
Okay, so I just want to say one thing to you in tossing this. That man is so disrespectful because what he's really assuming and projecting there is that he thinks people are idiots. He's taking advantage of people who have to work all day to put food on the table and manage their children and their busy lives, who do not have 8 to 10 hours a day to research the news and figure out, where Chris Murphy is lying to them. And the suggestion in any way, shape, or form that an American has been grabbed, arrested, and shipped off to El Salvador is a lie. And he's banking on them just not having that intimate a connection with the details of the story like this, Maryland dad, to know he's lying to them as he tries to scare them. In a court of law, an objection would have been sustained, the entire commentary would have been stricken, and he would have been admonished by the judge not to actively mislead the jury.
You're exactly right, of course. There is no slippery slope between a non-citizen who committed a felony in entering this country and a citizen of the United States. The only people trying to make a slippery slope between citizens and non-citizens are the Democrats, because that has been their agenda for the last 40 years. They are the ones who want there to be no legal difference. They want an open border. They want an endless supply of slave labor to watch their children and clean their homes and do their landscaping and work in the fields and pick the crops, as Nancy Pelosi famously put it. They are the ones, this is their wishful thinking, that there would be a slippery slope between a citizen and a non-citizen. Average Americans know that being an American citizen, indeed being allowed to live legally on United States soil, is the greatest privilege on planet Earth, and that you can't just decide that there's going to be a slippery slope there. No, there is a legal distinction upon which every single one of our civil rights rests, that there is a difference between being an American and being a non-American. Now, why do the Democrats insist so strongly that there should be a slippery slope there? Not just that there is, but that they want there to be one. Why are they insisting that in Donald Trump enforcing the law and doing what he promised the American people and getting rid of violent non-citizens, that this somehow threatens Americans? Why do they insist that in deporting a green card holder who lied on his green card and supports Hamas and supports ending America, that this could happen to an American citizen? It's because,
that's
Megyn—
Mahmoud Khalil.
Mahmoud Khalil.
Just to keep it straight, that's a separate case, the guy out of Colombia. Keep going.
Exactly. Their entire agenda right now is cosplaying. Their base are the top 10%, the top 20%, the people who show up at Coachella to hear Bernie Sanders speak, the people who show up to hear AOC speak. These are wealthy people. They are in the top 10%, which controls over 60% of the wealth in this country. They don't have real problems. And so what they do is they have to look for other people's problems to pretend that they have. We talked about this during the election. This is why Democratic women, wealthy, middle-aged Democratic women, made, third trimester abortions their number one issue. It's because it allows them to cosplay as the oppressed. They know at some level that they are unbelievably privileged. And they know, because they can see the polls, that Donald Trump has made the case to working class Americans of all races that he has their best interests at heart, that he stands for the dignity of the American working class. That's what the tariffs are about. That's what immigration is about. That's what getting trans women out of women's sports is about. It's about the dignity of the average American. And the Democrats, in realizing that they have lost touch with that great American middle, have to invent ways in which they are the ones who are on the side of the oppressed. Hence the magical slippery slope that if Donald Trump deports an alleged wife beater or somebody who supports Hamas, people who are not American citizens and don't have the rights of American citizens, that he could be coming for you, you wealthy people at Coachella. You are a potential victim. Your rights are being, oppressed. You are the real victim here. That's what they're trying to do here.
You've heard about tariffs recently, plus inflation, supply chain disruptions. It's a lot, but there is a silver lining that most people missed. President Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from the tariff talk. The administration preserved the ability to diversify into precious metals. If you are concerned about your savings, consider a free consultation with a Birch Gold precious metals specialist. The first step is to text MK to 989898 and receive your free no-obligation info kit on gold. Learn how to hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of pocket. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of thankful customers, consider texting MK to 989898. Again, text MK to 989898 to claim your free info kit right now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.